my blood pressure got so low that I started cold sweating. I was nauseous. It was like everyone around me was spinning, like the room was spinning. Having Sjogren syndrome can feel like you're on a roller coaster and you never know when the drops are going to come, or like you're going through an obstacle course with so many twists and turns and things flying at you. And let's be honest, we're all only human. And that gets really heavy and it starts to weigh down on me. And I'm sure that you've had your own experiences feeling that weight, feeling the weight of it all as well. So this video, I go into a little bit about the struggles that I faced this week, how I felt about them, how I reacted and responded, as well as what I learned from it. Hey Sunflowers, I wanted to talk today about the obstacles and opportunities that come from having an autoimmune disease. So to start off, last week was a very challenging week for me. There were definitely a lot of obstacles that I had to work through, starting from my Plex treatment, my normal monthly treatment. The prior month, last month in March, it went really well. So of course I was believing and praying and expecting for it to go the same way. And the first day did. It was great. No issues accessing my port. No side effects as far as nausea and all that. However, when I started the treatment, I had low blood pressure. So they decided to give me some extra fluids just to kind of increase my blood pressure, because the procedure in itself already, like when it's over, it decreases it. So to just kind of balance it out, which totally makes sense. I was on board with that. Good. However, afterwards, I developed hematomas at the site of the IV in my arm, as well as at the port site. It created like this really big bruise that ended up turning into a scab. And if I'm being totally honest, because of where it was, because it was at my port site, a sensitive area, and it was causing pain, it definitely did, what's the word? It did shock me, I guess. It definitely created concern for me because it was the first time. So I was worried about things like, potential infection of my port, and just an experience that I hadn't gone through before. And so it definitely created an obstacle for me. I reached out to my primary care doctor, who also discussed with my hematologist as far as the blood thinner that I'm on, if that needed to be adjusted. And it just felt like, this kind of whirlwind of things, and having to reach out to my doctors and changing kind of my regimen. Like, if I'm being honest, whenever that happens, it can kind of throw me for a loop a little bit. You get comfortable in your regular routine, whether it be medications or even just your life routine. And then when something comes to shake it up, it definitely creates some fear, some pause, some concern. And then I still had to go to day 2 of my treatment, in which the port site had to be accessed again. And there's really only one spot in which you can access it. And so I was extremely afraid of anyone kind of touching that area. It definitely brought me back to when I first got the port and when I first had my procedure, and how sensitive it was in the healing process and how nervous I was in that process. So I had to think about, okay, I've been in this situation before. I've been in this situation where it's been bruised and I've been nervous. And so I had an opportunity there to think about what got me through the last time. And it just continued to go back to that You know, Jesus was there with me last time I prayed. He carried me through that time of fear, and he would carry me through this time as well. And so that's what I did. I prayed during that second day of treatment, and it was not as painful as I thought it was going to be. So then I thought, okay, you know, got through that obstacle, time to go home. Well, while we were waiting for the valet to bring our car, I had a hypotensive event in which I guess my blood pressure got so low that I started cold sweating. I was nauseous. It was like everyone around me was spinning, like the room was spinning. So here comes another obstacle. But yet again, I had been through this once before, and that time I got really nervous. I was squirming. I was just, it was something new. But again, I remembered, okay, no, I've been to this before. Take deep breaths, drink some water, try to cool your body down, you know, do things, but most importantly, stay calm. So there was another opportunity there for me as I was facing, excuse me, as I was facing an obstacle. And so made it home. And the pain from the port site and from the IV site continued to increase. And I will say, you know, there was an opportunity when I got home and this last week in terms of, okay, how am I going to handle this? How am I going to, you know, work through and kind of the pain? And I'll be honest and say that after obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, it started to wear me down. And I wasn't looking for opportunities anymore. I wasn't thinking about a time that I had been through this before. I wasn't thinking about, you know, prayer, to be totally honest. And I wasn't thinking about the miracles that I had experienced before. All I could think about was my pain and how uncomfortable I was. And I kind of hid in that. Now I have the opportunity to take this experience, you know, and remember, okay, well, you tried that last time. So if I have another flare up in the future, if I experience pain that is trying to, you know, block and get in the way of my daily activities, you know, this experience provides me an opportunity to now try something different, to try something new, and most importantly, try not to do it on my own, because that's what I was doing. You know, when I was going through the treatments, I wasn't doing it on my own. I was relying on God to help me through. But once I got home, somehow that escaped me, and I was trying to do it on my own. I'm, you know, in my own strength, basically. And I found that that's never going to work. And so the times that I've relied on myself, it's taken me much longer to recover. It's taken me much longer to do whatever task it is that I'm trying to do. And in the times where I have relied on God, I've experienced miracle after miracle after miracle. So as I continue to battle through this journey of an autoimmune disease, of Sjogren's that can be so unpredictable, that can feel so isolating, I'm going to look at each obstacle as an opportunity to continue to learn from my experiences, as an opportunity to expect a miracle to happen, and as an opportunity to not rely on my own strength, but to rely on God's. And so I heard a song today that just reminded me, it's, you know, simple words, but it reminded me that I'm going to be okay. And so I'm sharing that with you as well. You are going to be okay. So whether it is that you have recently been diagnosed, if you haven't been diagnosed yet, if you are battling with doctors or new symptoms or things that just aren't going to make sense, whatever the obstacle is, there is an opportunity there for you to fight. And at the end of it all, you are going to be okay. Stay tuned for more videos. I know that this disease is super complicated and can feel very isolating. So let's navigate this together. Let's process our feelings together, and let's fight together.